legitimate Japanese word, spelled T-A-K-A-I.
All right.
It means expensive.
Let me just start with that then. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, George, we have never met, so let's, for the record, get the pronunciation of your last name. It is...
It's pronounced Takei.
And
as
not
opposed
Takei.
to Takei, which is a pronunciation that many people choose to make, but I tell them that's all right. That is a legitimate Japanese word, spelled T-A-K-A-I. That translates into English as expensive. So if they want to call me George Expensive, I'd be happy to accommodate.
And does Takei have a literal translation?
Yes, it does. Takei means warrior's well, and so we kind of speculate that our ancestors probably ran the local pub for the samurais.
Okay. I would like to get your reaction or your thoughts about, you're a supporting player in Star Trek, and you don't get as much footage on the screen as Shatner and some of the others. But just give me your feelings about that, George.
Well, Sulu's a very interesting character. There are dimensions to him that have not been shared with the audience yet. And so Sulu and George Takei are constantly there, pushing, nudging, suggesting to try to expand on what the fans are missing out on. We will, one of these days, have a script where the focus is on Sulu.
Well, now this time, of course, the character of McCoy, Bones, has been quite expanded and elevated, hasn't it?
And didn't he do a lovely job?
Indeed.
I think, you know, the humor that he found in the character, which was always there, you know, it was all consistent with the character that was established in the TV series, but then the light, wonderful touches that he was able to give it, and that wonderful thing that he has to play, that dichotomy. To an actor, it's always a very, very savory kind of opportunity, and Dee did a lovely job.
What would you like us, the members of the audience, what would you like us to know about your character that perhaps we've never had the chance to explore?
Well, the thing that I think most fans know is that Sulu is a very good professional, but his real hero and role model is Kirk. And he's patterning his career after Kirk. He's a kind of a apprentice to Kirk and his whole educational background. And he chose to be with Captain Kirk when he was a lieutenant. And as the captains moved on, he's been following his career with great admiration, with respect, but also with a great deal of fondness and love.
How do you react, or how did you react to the news that Leonard Nimoy was going to direct?
Yes, well, Leonard's a good friend. Aside from an acting colleague on Star Trek, we've been involved in a lot of other activities away from Paramount Studios, the political arena, civic activities, charitable activities. And so I'd like to think that, you know, I felt good about that, but I must also confess there was some apprehensions about that. We had two fantastic directors that preceded Star Trek III, both different in their own ways. With Leonard, we had a priori established relationship, and part of that relationship is that inevitable competitive thing that happens with a colleague. You know, he may have been the star of the show, but you're still kind of, you know, trying to find a little extra space for yourself, a place in the sun. And so that competitive element kind of carried over when I first heard that you know, he's going to be directing. But we also were well aware that he had a very keenly analytical mind. What we discovered in the actual shooting of the film was his wonderful diplomacy, his intuitive sense, you know, for what the people were thinking, what they needed, whether it was assurance or an open mind to listen, and he really listens to the ideas that the actors bring. When there was a need for firmness, that was there. But what he really did was created a climate that was conducive to good work. And underlying all that was a great fondness and love for Star Trek and all of us as individuals.
Would you be happy to see him direct Star Trek IV?
Absolutely. I think I was the first to begin a lobbying campaign to see Leonard direct Star Trek 4. I think he did a marvelous job in 3, and that adventure must also continue.
Of course, it ends with the giving the audience the idea that there will be more. Where would 4 take off? In which direction?
Isn't that a tantalizing speculation? Because our careers with Starfleet in Star Trek 3 have been jettisoned because of our friendship, our loyalty, the philosophy that got turned around. In Star Trek 2, Spock's sacrifice was based on the thesis that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or one. We turned that around. The needs of the one, a very dear friend who made a very high sacrifice for us, outweigh the needs of the many. We all have career aspirations. We all have our personal dreams. We all have our commitment to what Starfleet stands for. We have our great love for the ship that we were with. But surpassing all of that, the highest priority is loyalty and friendship and love for a colleague and a friend that made that enormous sacrifice. That's what Star Trek 3 is about.
Okay, and it'll just go from there, huh?
The adventure continues. We'll boldly go where no other humankind's gone before yet.
George, spoken like a true Trekkie. Thank you. It's nice talking with you. I enjoyed getting to know you in this brief visit.
Thank you. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you. Very good, George.
Well,
yeah, very nice.
we appreciate the good word you're spreading for us. And